We're good. We're live. Bam! What's up, YouTube? First time going live here for Kilgallon's Pub. This is a podcast in which I like to sit back and have some drinks with people and recreate that bar conversation we'll know and love. Follow the podcast on Instagram at Kilgallon's Pub, also on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at Kilgallon's Pub. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, I got over probably almost 2 hours of stand-up on there. And speaking of stand-up, I got one of my favorite comedians on the planet on this episode of Kilgallon's Pub. The dude has been he's on the latest season of F is for Family. Fucking on Netflix, Bill Burr show, get on that. Also on Maniac, which is a Netflix show with Jonah Hill and Emma Stone. I'm a big fan of. I love her. And then his latest album is one of my favorites. Whenever I have someone in the car, I go, you got to listen to this. It's called Preferred Customer. You can check it out on Spotify and iTunes and in special form coming at you spring of 2020. We're putting it out there. Ladies and gentlemen, Nate Craig.
You're a goddamn salesman, dude. You are born for this.
How are you,
buddy?
Thanks, man. Dude, it's the Maker's Mark. I got a brand new bottle of Maker's Mark.
I feel like an asshole not drinking, but I got sets tonight. So
No,
I'm
don't feel like an asshole.
And my brain is in shambles. It's been in shambles since college, so I got to keep it together as best I can. And man, that Maker's Mark smells good, though, buddy.
It does, right? It's
and I'm in the pub. I'm in Kilgallon's Pub. It's good to be here.
Well, cheers to you and yours, my
I'm
friend.
gonna tell you, it's even fancier in person than it looks.
The studio over here.
It's even fancier.
We got James Webb over there producing.
James
up,
and
y'all?
his bitches. He's got a whole fucking
Just
lineup
racks.
behind him.
Racks and
he's got-
racks.
there's a whole liquor cabinet over here. It's fancy.
You like it?
It's fancy.
Well, man, I'm happy you're on this.
Should be called Kilgallon's Craft Cocktails. Because it's upscale. It's bougie.
It's a fucking dingy basement in Chicago. But I like the sell you're making, my friend.
Kilgallon has gentrified his own podcast.
I like it, man. I like it. Well, hopefully the feed's pretty good for our first time going live on YouTube. Dude, yeah, I don't promote alcoholism. You don't have to be a drunk to be on this thing. I just like...
It helps.
Dude, I've probably said this on the podcast in the past. I love bars, and I remember in high school, we had to write what business we would want. I think I was like a freshman, and everyone wanted to own a bar. And I remember the teacher kind of looking at me like, what? Because everyone else had some stupid, like, I want to have a baseball card shop, or, I'm going to own like a record store. I was like a bar, which is weird for like a 14-year-old to have written. But it was always that atmosphere. I remember when I was a kid, every Christmas we'd go to Butch McGuire's, which is a bar in Chicago I'm sure you've been to, River North. And they had like a train around the top, and it was just like festive. And I liked the lively conversation, people being loud. Back then, people were smoking in there. I've been watching Mad Men recently, and I would see like, I hate smoking in bars, and I'm glad we don't anymore. But sometimes I see like old movies of everyone like having a cigar or something like
Looks good.
that. It looks awesome.
It looks good, yeah.
It looks like the best time I've ever seen.
Yep. Yeah. I was at my wife and we had to go to her cousin's wedding in Miami, and it was her uncle's daughter, and he big cigar guy. Cigars out by the bar, out on the patio at the Biltmore and Coral Gables. Dude, it was talk about fancy. It was fun, and man, smoking and drinking is it's a lost art.
It really is,
It's a
especially
lost
cigars.
art. Yeah, cigars. Yeah. I mean, well, I think you can go to a cigar bar. That's different, but
Well, let me pick your brain about this if you could enlighten me. I almost had the opportunity. It was a bunch of us at the Comedy Store. I was with like Joe Bartnick, who you know, and Jason Lawhead and Burr. And they were like, we're going to go to a cigar place. Let's all go.
Yeah.
And I got the invite.
Yeah.
But then the one they were going to ended up being closed, so then nothing ended up happening. Well, I'm just going back to the Comedy Store.
Right.
You have opened for Bill Burr.
Yeah, I work with him all the time.
You work with him all the time. You do a voice on F is for Family, which is that episode's out now, right? Or is it
No,
the
this
next
new season hasn't come out yet.
Hasn't come out
I think
yet.
it comes out in the spring, maybe even early summer. I'm not even sure.
Normally I'm on top of that stuff, but as a dad, I'm
Well, I should be
I'm
on top
behind
of it.
on everything.
I have no idea.
Yeah, you're in
Clearly,
it. You got the paycheck.
We'll get it together.
What's that dude like to smoke a cigar with?
Oh, I mean, he's Bill Burr. He's a lot of fun. I mean, he just cares about what he cares about, and he's a steel trap. Any opinions he's ever come up with, he's got them all in a Rolodex, and he can pull them instantly. He makes it look so easy.
What I love about dudes like that is I always gravitated towards the comedians who are the same off stage as they are on stage. And I feel like that's like the most genuine dude. Like,
Yeah.
there's not...
Yeah, he is.
There's no phoniness to that guy,
No,
right?
yeah, no. I mean, you know him. He's a great guy.
I don't know him like you did. I met him a handful of times, but what was really cool was first time I met him was playing hockey, and I suck. And he knew I sucked. But he was cool. He skated up like, I only just really picked up the game playing like a year ago. And, once we started chasing the puck around, you'll feel more comfortable. And was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And then we were, talking sports in general. And I said, what's great about hockey is it's one sport you really can't fake. Like, Nate, you're a bigger dude. What are you, 6'2", 200?
Yeah, about.
If you put on pads, your Green Bay Packers uniform,
Yeah.
and stood on the sideline,
and Lambeau Stadium packed on a Sunday, and they saw number 17 Craig, remember number 8 we'll give you. They'll be like, oh, that's probably just some new backup quarterback.
I'd be the punter.
Or a punter.
I'd be
maybe
the
a punter. But
punter.
no, but I think you're big enough for on pads. You're no smaller than Aaron Rodgers.
I could fake it in an ice arena. On a football field, I think those guys are a little bit different.
Well, I get it, but my point is, well, you're an actual hockey player, so this is a bad example for you. My point is, though, if I put on football pads and stood on the sideline, nobody in the crowd would be like, who the fuck is that phony? But as soon as I stepped into the ice, they would know this is not a hockey player.
You can't fake
You can't fake
skate.
that.
No,
Or baseball, if I'm in a Cubs uniform and I
Yeah.
get in the on-deck circle, no one's like, they'd be like, oh, they must have just called him from AAA. They wouldn't think this guy doesn't belong. But hockey, they know as soon as you step on the ice, you don't belong.
Why are his pants so baggy?
Yeah. Why is he leaning back like a fucking moron? You know what I mean? Does he know how to keep his weight over his knees?
Oh man, yeah. Once you start getting into the motions, you'll expose yourself. But yeah, you can't fake ice hockey. No, Bill's a great guy. I mean, he's a lot like he is on stage. Like he's if he wants to talk about something, he wants to get to the heart of it, and that's usually full of interest.
Huge sexist too, from what I understand. No, that shit cracks me up. We were talking about Joey Villagomez, everyone. By the way, check that out. He's been on the podcast several times. He was recently on
The Ringers,
which is on the Comedy Central app. Everyone check that out. He was talking about how, like, oh yeah, I had we were talking to him on the podcast, and he goes, oh, my daughters are big feminists. So at first, like, oh, Bill Burr. And I'm like, that same weekend, Bill Burr was producing Jessica Kirshen's, is that her last name, Kirshen? Or Kirshen?
Yeah.
Her special. And I don't know, I just laugh about that stuff. I think the dudes who are honest are the ones who are less likely to be freaking actual misogynists or sexist. It's the dudes that are, like, overly, and he has a joke about, I think, Bird. A lot of comics has a joke about how the dudes that are like super one way, you can't really trust those fuckers.
Yeah.
I always say those are the dudes that are gonna finger you while you sleep. Those are that guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? The one that goes out of the way to be like, I'm one of the good ones, and I hate white men too. You know?
Male feminist shirt. Yeah, I just I think there's some truth to that. Yeah, like somebody doing too much. A lot of people doing too much, man. The internet is the whole place is just doing too much, dude. It's not real life. It's like you can. I don't know. I'm all for being better people and being and evolving as a species and as a culture and as a society and every stopping point along the way. But you got to be reasonable. I mean, how many generations are we trying to evolve in one fucking Twitter exchange?
Yeah, good point.
It's like, dude, yeah, like not everybody. Would it be wonderful if we all had the brains that could wrap around being a gender that you weren't born as, and also being like in my a couple albums ago, I had a bit about I know a woman who was born a man who likes women, and you know what I have to say about that? Not a goddamn thing, because I'm not a fucking bully in gym class, and I just think that's just how I was raised. I'm not trying to tell anybody how they should and shouldn't be, but there are a couple steps there.
I know that joke you're talking about.
There are a couple steps there. Like, if you're just a regular person, if you're a dude that grew up in your dad's garage, being a mechanic, and you see the same 10 dudes most days and you don't ever get outside your comfort zone, it might take you a couple conversations.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with those dudes.
Right.
I think a lot of times we're so quick to be like, well, fuck this piece of shit guy. And it's like, well, slow the fuck down.
Yeah.
You know what? I think the big problem is, like, people like think that makes you a bad person. If being ignorant does not make you a bad person. It just means you don't know shit, and it'll take some time. And also on the other end, they're so quick to be like, no, here's the problem with the like. Whenever I see people just cancel the South, not everyone in the South is a piece of shit. It's a lot of lovely people down there.
Although
they're not exposed to you. Slow down.
I'll say this: I don't appreciate this. People getting canceled for doing Southern accents to sound stupid. Okay, it's how I was raised. Okay, it's my. How about this, South? It's my heritage. My heritage was being dumb in a Southern accent. It's how I was raised. And fucking, to be honest, South, you got a lot of bad tape out there. Okay, the entire fucking civil rights movement, you got a lot of bad tape. All right, a lot. All right, and I'm sorry, but ease off with the fucking snowflake reaction to my fucking Southern accent stupidity bit. I'll evolve. It might take me a couple years.
All right. Well, you know what? I was hanging out with some comedians.
Hashtag cancel the South.
Except New Orleans. I like fucking that part. That part's great. But
the South
Atlanta's
is great,
fun.
dude.
No,
South
I
is awesome.
love the South too, man. It's some of my favorite crowds. But dude, we were talking. It was a mix, like a bunch of comedians. Russ Williams. I'm trying to name the ones who've been on the podcast for the listeners. Russ Williams, Abi Sanchez, Joey Villagomez, and a couple black comics who haven't been on the podcast yet. It makes me sound bad. They're going to be on though soon. And we were talking about random shit, and then someone talked about, there was like a funny video going around where they don't know what it originally is too, but everyone's been using it like as a split screen to do reactions of. You probably know the video because James is hip to memes. It's like a mother and daughter, they're reacting to something, and they're like, oh my God. And they're crying and this, and then all of a sudden the father comes in to look, and he's like jacked up. They're clearly watching something on TV. And it started with like a black guy eating seasoned chicken, and the white people are like, oh my God, they're freaking out, and then all sorts of other shit have been added to it. And then I interjected going like, I don't get where this came from. We always had chicken seasoned. Like my grandma made great barbecue chicken, and then he was like, well, even barbecue chicken, that's more of a black thing, so it's like, you guys took that from us. And I go, oh, and another thing, stop saying white people don't have food or culture. Do you guys not eat Italian? Huh? You never had a hot dog and a hamburger, you fucking dicks? They were all laughing because they knew I was making a good point.
Right.
But it is funny how like immediately, look, have white people, American whites I should say, American whites have ripped off a shitload of black culture, from music to slang. Think about all the slang. Even the word cool, I think probably a black guy came up with. Now, that's not to say white people don't have good slang. Canadians have great slang.
Great slang.
Beauty. This guy's a fucking beauty. He's chirping me. I love that shit. Canadians are great with slang. The UK,
darts.
Wonderful slang.
Giver.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Canadians are great with nicknames. Australians have great slang. It's just
Fitzy, tiny.
American whites, we're just not good with slang because we have our own Americans.
Yeah.
I just look at it like it's American slang. It's not black or white slang. That's just American slang.
Right.
But also, not all black slang is great. On Fleek was real fucking dumb, and that lasted for a horrible 18 months. We all know On Fleek was stupid.
I'm pretty sure white people didn't do bomb diggity.
Bomb diggity was not us. We didn't do that one. We did dipshit. Dipshit is us. Dipshit's not bad.
Dipshit's a good word.
Cocksucker, I feel like that's a white guy thing. I think our Italian friends came up with that one.
Horse shit, that's white people.
Horse shit's definitely. Anything with animal and then the swear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's definitely white people stuff. All right. Well, let's slide into some other stuff.
But how absurd would it be for us to just claim horse shit? It's not worth fighting over, and it's definitely not worth hating on. I think that that it's just fun to pull rank on people.
Yes, it is.
I think it's fun to be a victim.
If you have a sense of humor about it and you're tongue in cheek about it, I think, sure, yeah.
Right. Yes, obviously that. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't. It's tempting to do these things. It's tempting to be a victim. It's tempting to put yourself in that situation where whatever gets you to go do whatever it takes to motivate you. Whatever it takes to make you feel like you're. I think your brain tricks the shit out of us. I think mine does. It'll always it'll always fear's easy, anger's easy, and the internet. What's better than fucking fuck you, send.
Oh yeah.
Put your phone down. God damn it, that's the most chicken shit way to get angry at somebody and to just pull.
What's a fun way to fuck with people though? Here's something you guys could try too at home. When you're in if you ever get one of those heated exchanges on Twitter or Facebook, send one do your last point and then never respond again because the other person's fuming.
Oh yeah,
because they're like, you didn't give me. They don't get any satisfaction. You just hit send and then you're like, yep, done with that, and you never go back to it. Because they do a whole, where'd you fucking go? Where'd you go, dude? Am I winning? And you just know you're out at the movies, you're having fun. Yeah.
Did I make you tap out?
Because I'm right. You got to go look shit up. You're looking up facts. Well, facts aren't feelings, bro. All that shit.
You started a birther poetry slam, and so I did tap out.
I did.
I tapped right out.
Myself.
I tapped sleep on my cell phone screen.
I came back to him once where I was like, dude, I had to go grocery shopping. I have a family. I had shit to do. I had to go make love to my wife. What were you doing?
And when you did that, you lost.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Anytime you do that, because then
you came back.
You can't come back saying,
you can't come back.
I have a
yeah. I don't know, man. I think that the internet is if everybody had the proper perspective, it would probably have us on the way to being better, more thoughtful, more capable people with understanding and perspective appropriate to our place in history. But being that it is also a place for reactionary, confrontational behavior, a lot of that gets lost. And unfortunately, a lot of that is even like very progressive, thoughtful stuff that would really be help people be educated about each other.
I agree with everything you just said. That's a very good point. I definitely see a tremendous amount of value in the internet. There are some things where
at Hype Man on Twitter.
There you go. No, I mean, there's some, look, yeah. Obviously, we have our gripes with the internet, but we still use it. It's become a utility, like your electric bill or your gas or whatever, like that. And yeah, we all have that urge to be connected, but it is such a poison, and people definitely get in their bubbles. And the people who know how to just accept it and use it for what it is and can use it for good, because there are some good things. Like I've heard of people who have like a rare disease and they're able to connect with other people around the world that have that same rare disease. And because like, hey, look, there's actually 1,000 of us that exist that no one knew about before. And now we could come up with some fundraisers and actually get some research and get a spotlight on it. That shit, awesome. Dog videos, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Leaked trailers, wonderful. Porn, thank you. Like so many good things. Right?
I even thought some of the venom, like when somebody loses it and like goes like, way overboard, like with like out public racism, misogyny, like really kind of putting somebody on blast. Like somebody calling the cops on a black dude for trying to get into his building. Those kind of videos like that. Hey, clean up your fucking act, fix your behavior. I thought that was, but Trump confuses me because there's like because I guess I thought that we were evolving to the point where we were not going to accept like certain types of behavior anymore, and the fact that cameras were everywhere and that it was exposing a lot of these outbursts of low-level human fucking indulgence.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. People didn't realize that. Okay, a lot of these things aren't new. They've been happening, but now we have video proof in a lot of cases. And on the other side of that, it's gotten to the point where I think they just know how to divide, manipulate the media, all this. And we've heard this over and over again about how the media wants to keep us divided. But there is so much truth to that, because I remember the 2018 statistics were that the fewest amount of civilians were killed by police ever in 2018. And the fewest amount of cops were killed in the line of duty in 2018. Those are two statistics that should be celebrated.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's work to be made, but we can't do that because everyone has to be fuck you, and fuck you on the other side. And that's why I think so many people are fed up, especially with the two-party system, with the way shit is. Now, Trump his rise makes so much more sense. At the time, everyone was like, how did this happen? No, it makes sense. This guy was a reality TV star. He's been a name brand. He's been a name brand since the 80s. He was in Home Alone 2. And then the other side of that election was Hillary Clinton, who'd been a name brand since probably the early 90s, even before she became first lady. People knew who the hell she was. And so therefore Bernie, who wasn't known yet, Martin O'Malley, and then the other 15 or 6, there was like a shitload of people running on the Republican side in 2016. They were all trying to get position. It never started fair, because it's about who's the name brand. Mm-hmm. And I look at the news networks the same way I look at ESPN. It's sports. It's red team, blue team, and now you have to stick up for you. I know people who especially on the red team, that it's like, dude, I heard Trump fucked your wife. Well, my wife had to fuck him to make America great again, so therefore, what he did wasn't bad.
That's
because sometimes you got to fuck someone's wife to make. If you're a true patriot, true patriots, I was happy to sacrifice.
My president fucks wives.
Damn straight, man. Who doesn't fuck wives? Probably the French president. Actually, he probably fucks a lot of wives, that guy. Is it still a dude in France?
I mean, we're talking about France, right?
Right? I'd hope so. I'd be disappointed if the French president wasn't banging ass on the reg. You know what I mean? On the reg? Black guy slang. Thank you for that one. See, we're all coming together.
All my wives' friends fuck me. I make sure all my wives have lots of friends for fucking.
Was that your French accent?
I mean, I tried, man.
Okay, you tried, man. It seemed like Borat. You were doing Borat as a French guy, maybe? My French is like, I just make grunts.
Yeah.
Dude, you do a good Pepe Le Pew. You have that great joke about Pepe Le Pew on your album. Guys, check out his Pepe Le Pew joke on his fucking special called Preferred Customer. All right, shifting gears a little bit. And that's what I like about this podcast. We go here, there. But I don't have a lot of time
That's
with
what you like about your podcast?
I do. That's what I like about my podcast, is that I don't have to prepare. I can just come here and shoot the shit.
I appreciate that. Let's shift gears. Show me how this fucking car runs, buddy.
No, there's no fucking there's no format to this thing, guys. Fuck off, James, for laughing so badly loudly in the background, making me look like a dummy.
I'm cheating.
Do we have any comments from anyone?
Ron from where's Ron? From
Ronnie.
Atlanta, Georgia says hello.
Ron, we said Atlanta was the one we gave a shout out to. I fucking love Atlanta.
Ronnie.
And Raindog38 just said, howdy, Joe and James. What's up, Raindog? Good to see you back.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. So I want to ask you about this because I remember you had told me the story, but I want people to hear because I think it's such a cool like Hollywood type story or show business story, I should say. The TV show Maniac on Netflix, which is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Anything with Jonah Hill and Emma Stone attached,
Sure,
big
yeah,
deal. These are
yeah.
two hot actors.
Movie stars everywhere.
The dad was what's his name? Gabriel Byrne.
Gabriel Byrne, yep.
That guy's great too.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And you have a big part in it. You're in a few episodes.
Justin Theroux, Sally Fields in the show. It's a wild show. It was the best job I ever got.
So
far.
So far, hell yeah, man.
Nate at natecraig.com for booking.
So how did you get that part?
The showrunner knew me from Chicago, and he said, I got something that you might be right for. Send me your acting reel when I ask you. And he was like, boom, and he showed it to the director. And the whole gag, I played one of Jonah's brothers, and the whole gag was that he's the black sheep of the family, doesn't look like the family, doesn't, So
yeah, everyone, you look waspy.
Right.
The other brother looks very waspy.
Right. So I fit with the.
Got great hair, Nate.
Yeah,
wonderful chin, jawline.
Billy Magnuson
dick for
played
days, I bet. Billy Madison.
I do good with what I got.
There you go.
Yes, I love the whole cast was great. I didn't really get along with Jonah that well. But
You didn't?
He just stayed to himself.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah, but I mean,
Was he talking to a lot of people or just stayed himself in general?
he stayed to himself in general. It was weird. Was
he method acting? Because it's a weird character he plays.
Yeah, that was it. And I don't really fault people, even when somebody's an asshole to me. I feel like we've met before, and I know good goddamn well that they know who I am, and they're an asshole. In Hollywood, I kind of just let that slide right off because you never know what somebody's dealing with, and you never know how many people are trying to ask them for shit.
Yeah, totally.
So but at the same time, we worked together for like 2 weeks, all told.
Yeah.
I wasn't there every day. He was shooting, obviously, and he wasn't there every day I was shooting, but like a couple 2 weeks maybe worth of direct coworker status. And
not much, huh?
I don't think the word coworker it means anything to that guy. I don't think he understands what that means. I mean, I think he was raised out west, and he kind of went zero to movie star real fast, and just didn't really, give a fuck about who was around, and if there was really a low camaraderie element to it.
I don't excuse shit behavior, but I like how you brought up he went from zero to movie star so fast.
Yeah.
As not like an excuse for bad behavior, but there's reasons. I always try to look at all right, why did so and so end up like that?
Right, Joe, because we're evolved.
Yeah, I like to figure out what the thing was.
We're empathetic. We have an appropriate amount of empathy that helps us live our lives responsibly.
Yeah,
and with the proper perspective.
I think so. I found out John Lennon was a terrible father to his first son.
It crushed you.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck. And then I was reading more about it. I'm like, all right, this kid was born when he was 22. His management didn't even want the public to know. They didn't, he was married with a kid at 22, and they kept it hidden because the girls loved the Beatles. So like,
right.
John, we don't want chicks knowing you're married because it's going to be bad for the image. And so that's crazy. And at the same time, that was a level of fame that was never reached before in human history.
Yeah.
No, they joked saying we were bigger than Jesus, but they were. I don't think people nowadays even realize how fucking big the Beatles were. Think about Beyonce and Jay-Z. The Beatles pissed on them as far as fame goes. They were the biggest band on the planet from 1963, really, and they came to America in 64, but they were already huge internationally before they came here. To 1970, they had to stop touring in 1966. Because there was not speaker technology good enough to amplify their performances.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched the concert footage of them when they're on that stadium tour, at Dodger Stadium or Shea Stadium? They're looking at each other like, I can't hear shit. Because it's just people screaming. 50,000 people showed up and screamed the entire time they played to the point where nobody heard anything but screaming. Because the technology just wasn't there to amplify them for that amount of people. It was just, that's how, they did movies. They did fucking movies. A Hard Day's Night is in the AFI Top 100 Greatest Comedies of All Time, and it's a band. That's fucking insane how big they were.
Good for his management company for burying that kid because they had to get across. They had to get there. They had to get to the promised land.
They had to get across the pond. And American women did not want.
You got to get a good management company to get you to the mountaintop.
It almost excuses him being a deadbeat in a lot of ways, right? But yeah, so anyway, so Jonah Hill wasn't cool, man.
Man, I'll tell this story. I haven't told this story publicly, but yeah. So Sting's wife, Trudy, was wonderful and lovely to work with. She played our mother.
Oh, cool.
And then also Jemima Kirk from Girls. She's the English.
Oh, I know that. Never that
chick
name.
from
Yeah.
Girls.
Oh,
real
yeah.
pretty.
Super sexy
she
voice.
She plays the kind of the love interest involved with the antagonist brother in the show. And they were wrapped, and it was after this. There's this big climactic scene, and it was shot in the middle of production, so they wrapped and they were done after that. So real quick, the whole family and everybody around it was dressed up for this scene, and it was a perfect picture opportunity. So the production wanted a picture of the family, just in case the show gets whatever nominated for an Emmy or whatever happens, just to have pictures. It's a big production. Of course. So they're like, so Jonah wraps. He's shot his thing, and he runs off set and goes, and they're like, okay, well, we need this picture. And so they call him. He won't come, and he's not coming back. And finally, the director has to go get him out of his trailer, has to walk out of this courthouse in the Bronx, walk 4 blocks to Jonah's trailer, get him out, bring him back. He's in street clothes, which is kind of a no-no as an actor. People still got to be in character for the rest of the day. There's 15 more takes to do, that kind of thing. And so he comes in, flip-flops and a T-shirt. And everybody's been sitting there waiting for basically a family photo for about 15 minutes.
You guys like at a department store,
maybe
yelling at
20 minutes. Everybody's waiting on this movie star to take this photograph. And he literally walks in the room. He ducks in behind all of us. And as he's walking up, he goes, just so you guys know, I don't like this stuff. Click, and then he leaves. And that was when I realized that, I like giving people the benefit of the doubt, whatever. It's not, we weren't friends. We didn't put each other in our cell phones or anything. But that's when I realized, all right, this dude's a cocksucker. This is fucking weird. Yeah.
Why? I don't know, man. I don't think.
I don't like this stuff. Really? Fuck. You're a fucking executive producer on the show. This is your show. You don't like your fucking dream career? This isn't part of it? Interacting with human beings, all ecstatic because they're on a fucking multi-million-dollar production, doesn't fucking gas you up anymore? You don't like being around that? You fucking prick. It was silly, dude. It's like you don't know what you got. You just got no concept of what you got. You don't like this stuff. We're all happy to be here because you're here, you fucking bitch.
That shit always just enforces that karma doesn't exist. It just reinforces it to me.
Whatever, man.
How ungrateful could you be? I can't ever imagine a scenario in which I wouldn't be jacked up for that. And that shows you the difference between people who made it because they were it was always there. When you grow up in it, I don't know what his parents did, but if you grow up with the entertainment industry right there, I know he was doing movies when he was 16 and shit like that. You know what I mean? But I think you just lose a sense of reality so quickly. Where everyone I've ever heard of who made it from other places, I live in LA for years and I do a lot of background work on stuff. I remember being on everyone. If you guys remember the People versus O.J. Simpson, I was the cop that grabbed David Schwimmer's character. David Schwimmer tries to break through to be I'm fucking the Kardashian guy, Robert Shapiro. I got to get in there, whatever the fuck his name was, or I got to meet Shapiro, or I don't know what the hell his thing was. But I grab him.
How did I miss you in that show?
It's just the side of my head. I got a picture of it somewhere where you could really see my profile. He looks right at me.
That's an awesome show.
He's like, I'm on the list, and the other cop has a line. He goes, "There's no list. I don't have a line." But I have to grab him. And Schwimmer's a great guy.
Yeah.
Because we talked about Chicago and stuff like that. Really nice dude. But anyway, later on that one, it's lunchtime, and we're getting stuff, and then someone says all right, well, background goes last. And I was just all right, whatever fucking happens. They treat you like the worst or whatever. Still a good gig, so I'm not bitching too much. But I remember someone on set, it was an assistant director who was nearby, and she wanted to be just so you guys know, I don't fucking like that. Because I used to work on NCIS, and on our first day, before we were a huge hit show, someone said, extras wait last, and Mark Harmon, who's the star of that show, was like, well, what'd you say? No, we don't play favors on this set. When it's time to eat, people line up. I don't care if they're making $6 million or if they're making $60. Everyone's equal on this set. And that, to me, I'm I started watching that show because of that.
Wow, that's
not that long because I'm not home on Mondays at CBS, but you know what I'm saying.
That's nice of Mark Harmon.
I like shit like that because I like when I hear people who have that power to flex that power because it's so. That's the thing that kills us right now about. I was talking about this, because I got into Marvel movies.
Real quick, I don't necessarily agree, but I appreciate that out of Mark Harmon.
You don't agree?
Hey, you guys, extras, whatever they can still get the same food. I don't like it when they don't get the same food. I'll draw the line there.
Yeah. Well, typically the actors get wrapped first anyway. But the idea that everyone was wrapped at the same time and they were like, "You get in the fucking back. You stand there."
I'll tell you this.
I understand. I think the workers should go first. The actual union people.
As a character on the show, well, they do.
Yeah, they do.
The crew goes first.
The crew should go first.
Crew does go first.
Sweating.
I'm not mad about that.
Yeah.
So then if your character's with a name, you should eat before the fucking background.
Hey, dude, I've had parts too. When I was on Chicago Med, I had to be, how you stay in wardrobe. I didn't switch to fucking sweats. I had to be in a goddamn gown with my balls hanging out for all day long until they operated on me.
That means you should get your meat sweats before the background. It's
all
fucking extravagant.
I just think he didn't like the idea of you go, then you go, then you go. When there was no reason for it, there's plenty of food. Everyone just get up and go.
Sure. Sure. Well,
and you probably saw actresses on their fucking phone texting and then being like, "Can I cut lines?" Like, no, you were fucking texting. Get your ass over there.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, how much of that is of this assistant director? Just so you guys know, I don't like this. Okay, well, nothing's going to change, so thanks for making yourself look like a fucking
She was trying to score points? Oh, man. I didn't even think about that. Damn, she was trying to score points.
Not to be a prick, but that could have been the dynamic.
Well, I was just saying that, people flexing their power. I was talking about this with James. Remember we were talking about this a month or two ago? So I was late. Disney Plus has all the Marvel movies, so I only just started watching a shitload of those the last few months to catch up to see the last, Endgame, the big one. And I kept thinking to myself, Tony Stark, this guy's a billionaire, and everyone talks about Batman, how he could have done more with his billions instead of just being a vigilante, beating the shit out of poor people at night. I think about Iron Man, dude. He did why isn't there not one billionaire that's gone it's so easy to be loved. If you have $1 billion, you know how easy it'd be for you to be loved? Elon Musk, yeah, but I think he's going slow with it. Isn't he was he just digging holes? It's I want to see some real fucking impact. The Tesla still only 2% of people could afford. Give me real impact.
Oh, Teslas are cheaper now, dude.
Yeah, I got one that's $35K.
Yeah.
But still, what percentage of Americans
And
can
he
afford
released all the
35,000?
patents for free. So you could make an electric car if you got the skills, dude.
That's big.
That's pretty big.
Is that enough for you, Joe?
All right, Elon. Thank you for being Tony Stark
God damn.
of this world. All right, I guess I'm not appreciative, man.
You're picking all the wrong horses today, buddy.
Well, I like the story of you getting... All right, well, you know what? Fuck extras. And fuck me, too. That's what I get. I got an extras mindset, and that's why I shall ever be. Forever shall I be an extra.
Oh, man.
That's what that's about.
Are you Me Tooing me on your own podcast?
I definitely feel like a victim in some way.
It's enticing.
It's for sure, dude.
I'm sorry. Where were we going?
I wanted to, you know what? All right. I don't have you for a whole long time, but I was going to say what's cool about Maniac, and thank you for that gem. Right, that's some cool inside information.
I haven't ever told that story before, so
hopefully that doesn't get you in trouble.
I don't give a fuck.
It didn't get a second season, right?
No, it didn't get a second season.
Was it meant to?
I doubt it.
Can I be honest? I feel like a bad front. I watched the first couple episodes.
It's all right.
And I didn't get past that.
Well, no, I mean it's. I didn't think. Whatever.
You were good. I remember watching it and being like, at the dinner table, there he is, and you're telling a fucking joke, and I'm like, fuck yeah, you're laughing about something with your brother. I think you dropped an F word early on, so I was like, oh, this is perfect. He's good.
That's it. That's all you needed.
And then
I
came an episode where you were dressed up all crazy. There was a dream sequence or a weird fucking alternate reality thing.
Yeah, I helped Gabriel Byrne murder somebody with a drill.
Yeah, dude. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
How was Gabriel Byrne? Was he cool?
The best.
Because you know where he's from?
The best.
You know where he's from?
Ireland.
Fuck yeah, that's why he's the best.
He is. He played fucking. Gabriel Byrne played fucking. I think he played for soccer for the national team.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think that's true. I think he was a badass professionally at some level. There's a couple. And then Vinnie Jones was played for England too. He's a dude that's been in a lot of UK
Gabriel
stuff.
Byrne was the best. Emma Stone was the best.
Was she cool too?
Yeah,
nice.
The best.
So just one guy.
Just one guy.
And why?
Why?
I don't know. We don't know what's going on in the world. I guess it's tough.
That's what it takes to be a quality actor. You have to be tortured on the inside.
I guess, man. I don't know. They say Daniel Day-Lewis is like that, where he's just in character. But when it's rapped, he's a nice dude. They're like, oh, he's a great guy once it's rapped. But I guess he's
I understand if it's when you're in character. But this motherfucker walked back with his fucking, fucking all-day rosé shirt on and fucking
all day rosé. That is true. He does have this image. He has this. I bet a bunch of people listening right now are going to be like, fuck, really? That sucks. I would have figured Jonah Hill would have been cool. Yeah, he definitely portrays this image of I'm a silly fuck. I was in Superbad. I'm cool. I'm one of you guys. Let's laugh at the same bullshit. Ha ha ha. Look at
his
me.
His characters are all super likable.
All of them. Even like in
Except
Moneyball,
for the
where he's
one in
assistant
Maniac,
GM.
really.
Yeah.
He was unlikable in Maniac.
So
I
maybe that's
thought.
why. Maybe he was trying to do it.
Yeah.
I hope you work with him again. I do, because I want you to come back on and be like, hey, man.
Well, if he watches this podcast, I'm sure I'll be brought on.
yeah.
He's in the chat right now.
That'd be great, man. You gave me some great advice back in 2015 when I was releasing my first album.
I'm sure I did.
You fucking did. I was talking to a couple labels, and you then brought up a documentary. It was a 30 for 30. Do you remember which one?
Ooh, was it
this?
The Spirit of St. Louis?
Yes, it was.
Hell yeah, dude.
Now, we don't have a ton of comedian listeners, but I know some of them check it out from time to time. But this also is good advice for people. You don't have to be a comedian to dig this advice. No matter what you do, think about what your value is in this sense.
The Spirit of St. Louis is the one about the ABA team.
Thank you. Summarize it for everybody.
It's the ABA is getting bought up by the NBA. It's like the
1970s.
It's the Pacers, the Nuggets, the
Spurs,
the Warriors, a couple 4 or 5 teams.
Four teams.
And the brothers that owned this team in St. Louis, the Spirit of St. Louis, wouldn't sell the team until they kept getting. So the league's coming at them with deals, and you got to watch it. It's about the deal that they make at the end. These two brothers. That's still
the whole
in place.
Point. It's a great 30 for 30.
Bonkers. Like one of the guys at the end of the documentary, he's like, I don't know if that was the best deal in sports. It might have been the best deal in deals.
Yeah, it's the best deal in any
crazy.
deal that's ever been a
crazy.
deal.
Yeah.
So I remember you telling me, watch that, and there's a word I want you to remember. It's called in perpetuity.
In perpetuity, buddy.
And I was like, all right, watch it. And I just was baffled because, like you were saying, they held out to sell. And they were smart enough to see TV coming.
Mm-hmm.
Because their dream was to own an NBA team. But they were going to absorb 4 teams, and St. Louis was not one of the 4 teams. They were going to just get rid of it because I guess St. Louis had the St. Louis Hawks before, and they failed miserably. So they're like, St. Louis isn't a basketball town. We're not going to bother with St. Louis. And they were like, well, we want the TV rights. So they gave them like a percentage of the TV deals of just the 4 other teams that they were absorbing.
Right.
And to this day, those 2 brothers get $300-400 million a year for doing nothing. They don't do anything. They don't do anything. Yes, because at the time, 5% was jack shit. Now these TV deals, for each team, the TV deals are in billions. And they've got the 5% or 10% maybe. I'm making up the number, but they definitely are getting 9 figures. They're getting over hundreds of millions of dollars for doing nothing. Sitting on their ass, they are 100 millionaires off of that deal.
Yeah, they saw something.
They saw something, and again, it was the greatest deal in the history of deals. But where does this pertain to me as a comedian? So I was thinking about, all right, do I go with this record label or go with that record label? There was 2 in particular, and you were like, well, I said no to another one for another reason, but you specifically said watch that, and then you also said, listen, dude, if it's not major label, they're not going to sell you any more copies than you're going to sell yourself, essentially. Also, they own 50%. They're going to get 50% of the revenue, and they own the material with you. I think it's like a co-ownership.
They're going to get the rights owner royalties, and you're going to get the artist royalties. That's your standard deal, and usually it's about 50-50.
Yes.
Depending on the platform, the rights ownership can be a little bit more, the artist can be a little bit more, but it's right down the middle.
And some people might think, well, if they're giving you the exposure, maybe the 50-50 is worth it. Well, all right, this was, and nowadays, if you're an unknown artist or an unknown anything, you almost want to take that 50% gamble on yourself in a way, invest in you. And furthermore, what I like what you were telling me was that you're like, obviously a major label opens different doors for you, and there's a lot of good mid-level or indie labels that are great. A lot of great bands that put on indie labels. But you mentioned, hey, this comedian, you named several big name comedians. One of which I'll say his name, Hannibal Buress. He put his first album out with a label that I was talking to, and you mentioned, hey, every time he puts a new album out, guess what? The old albums sell. Mm-hmm. And ever since you mentioned that back in 2015, these 5 years now, I then, every now and then, I'll check the iTunes charts. And I noticed, Gaffigan had one that came out 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Wow. 4 of the top 10 on iTunes are Gaffigan records.
Yep.
And Mulaney just put a new one out. Now all his back ones start to sell.
Right.
And then they sell on Spotify, and then the XM Sirius, they get more rotation, so they get royalties there, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, shit. So that's where the in perpetuity is. You get that money forever. Mm-hmm. So if you keep it and you keep putting the stuff out independently on your own, which we all could do as comedians, the technology's there. It's really not hard for us to do, create your own label, so to speak, is that when you do hit it big, when you this is, again, gambling on yourself, when you do, become the star you want to be or whatever, you reach that audience, that back catalog that you held on to yourself.
Yeah, it benefits you every different way.
Right? The numbers they increase.
Yeah.
And Hannibal had an issue where he wanted to put a joke. He was doing that show on Comedy Central called Why, and he wanted to do a joke that was off that album. So he had to get permission from the label, and the label was like, well, Comedy Central's gonna have to pay me. And so it's like a whole thing where it's like, this is fucking, you're being a dick. You don't have to do it this way. But he's like, well, this is why I do these deals. So in case of you. And so it's kind of like it was shady and shitty, right? And then they just was like, well, fuck, I'm not going to do it. And now I've heard that don't quote me on this directly, but this is the rumor that I've heard from several smart sources, that he's going to re-record that album. But each joke's gonna be slightly different, and then put it back out so that way he re-owns the material.
Good
which
for him.
Other people I've heard other comedians done some of their stuff.
Well,
here.
that's why you would hear it when like like a House of Pain track or like the Far Side re-released a couple, an album, and they had a couple bass lines. It was like, why does that song sound just a little different?
Yeah.
Officer Please, doom. Doom, 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 doom. They came out with like a version with like a really awful bass line, and it's just off enough so you're like, I don't want to listen to this. It's not the original. It's not the original, but like as a comic, you can just do it. It improves over time.
It does.
The bits improve over time. You're like, how many times you listen to an old recording, you're like, I tell that joke so much better now. It's like ridiculous. I wish that wasn't on the internet, but it is. I mean, I feel like I got lucky, man. There was I probably could have got a label to do my first digital album. Like I had a couple CDs I used to sell on the road back in the day, but like
I bought one. The one was called Crap Circus.
I made you.
No, you gave
that?
it to me. I think you gave it to me. You're a guy. You would never make me pay for it.
Would you stop attacking me?
I know. I bought it. You made me pay $15, and it was an open one. You were like, I can't. The unopened ones I give to real people. You could have this open one, but it's still full price.
Oh man, it was just a fucking
scratch too. You're like, go skip tracks 8 and 9. It's fine.
It's a DVD of you taking a shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why that alarm's going.
Hot shot getting a phone call over here.
Sorry, buddy.
Well, let me update everyone on the big special recording we did last week. That reminds me of re-recording stuff.
You're a machine, dude.
Thank you, buddy. We put two of the clips. I had two like individual ones.
2 or 3? It was a couple.
No, 2. Was it 2? Yeah, it was 2. The joke about mass shootings.
Yeah.
And then the millennial one.
Yeah.
And what we did was I'm gonna call those 2.0 because I had a mass shooting joke, and there was 2 mass shootings like 2 days before.
Sure.
And it was a joke I just riffed on stage, and it was
killed.
Perfect. It killed.
Yeah.
And so I put it on YouTube, and people on YouTube liked it a lot. But then I thought of a new second half to it. So I'm like, well, I'll still record that. At the very least, it's not on the album, because I'll still release it as an album, although we're going to release it exclusively to YouTube first, then a couple months later I'll drop it on Spotify and iTunes and all that shit to like much less of a push. Or I'll still push it, but you know what I'm saying? It's more about watching on YouTube. So I understand that whole idea of like change it a little bit. And that's the thing with comedy that's cool is our jokes get almost better over time because we can add little stuff to it.
Yeah.
So those 2, I definitely had a whole second chunk where I'm like, oh, people are going to like this better. I don't think I was really going to care if they heard like the developmental version versus the newer version.
That was an idea I had a while ago. I was like, man, maybe I could just do the same bit on every album and just as like just to show how bits evolve. I thought that was like my intent of the idea. I was like, yeah, and then then of course you got to force it into the hour somehow if that's really what you're gonna do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the one worked out pretty good because it was all about America, and then I shifted into another thing. So I was like, I could keep this in. I know you mean about the development of the joke. There is a Nirvana, one of my favorite bands. There's a song called Sappy. That's a really great song. Every time they went in to record an album, they recorded Sappy, and at the last minute, Kurt was like, nah, I don't want it on the album. And he kept taking it off the album, So there's like 6 versions of that song that exist. Each one is different. A couple are like the same, but you're like, all right, I see how this developed. And people were like, he was eventually going to put it on an album, right? I think it was released as a B-side or as a something after he died. But it was never, every time they brought it to the studio, they're like, this is going to be, here's the tracks we're going to do. I think a lot of bands do this. They'll record about 15 to 16 songs, and then they get it down to 12, and then they leave a couple off, and a couple they'll throw as B-sides, or a couple they'll be like, we'll save it for the next album, perhaps, And so it was interesting that one just kind of changed just a little bit over time. You could see it like develop and progress, and then he just never put on anything.
Oh man, I would love it if they put out all 6 versions on like the same release. That'd be great to listen to. I mean, for a music.
Well,
fan.
for a music fan,
fans.
it's definitely to see where it goes.
Yeah.
It starts off this slow song where it's just him on an acoustic.
Yeah.
That was the version where he wanted it to be just like him, like Yesterday by the Beatles, just him like, one guy with the guitar. Then it's like, all right, let's get the drums in. And then it became like there's a fast-paced version, there's a slow-paced version. Like Polly has that. There's a fast version of Polly and a slow version of Polly. And you know the Nirvana song Polly, right?
I
You know if you heard it. It's pretty like slow. Are you gonna try to play it, James?
No.
I don't want to get in trouble for
Kicked off
copyright shit.
YouTube.
Yeah, they'll kick us off. It's fucking it's annoying with that stuff. All right, well, dude, I want you to. You're in town here. I don't want you to miss where you're gonna be. So we'll wrap up on this. The last thing I want to bring up is I was talking about this with my wife. I couldn't do it last summer because we had like some family stuff. And sadly, last summer was the last summer of your 4th of July party. I kept saying, I got to go back to LA because, I lived there for 3 years and I went to the 4th of July party every year I was there.
Oh, man.
And I kept saying, like, you know what? I want to make it so that I go back to LA a couple times a year. And I go to New York a couple times a year.
I had a hilarious moment with you at one of those
Yeah. Oh, we could tell
I
that
was
story too.
I was fucking tripping my face off. And
you guys would always, there'd be a good group of you tripping.
I ate mushrooms
and acid too,
pretty
right?
much every
Or
year.
just mushrooms,
Acid or mushrooms.
Yeah.
And
They were the best 4th of July parties in the city of LA, in Venice.
It was a lot of fun.
Marina
It's
Del Rey.
bulletproof location. It was right by the marina. There's where the millions of dollars of
Oh,
fireworks,
fuck
and then 6 blocks from the beach, so you could do.
He would
the
jump
whole,
into the ocean by himself.
The whole neighborhood was popping off. It was just like a perfect spot.
It was perfect.
And then I'd take somebody down there. Fucking Andre came, Brooks came,
Yeah.
people came. Down to
this is Eric Andre, Brooks Wheelan.
I'd
Name
pop
dropper.
a couple beers, and
Yeah.
I tried to do it without doing it.
I know. I wanted to do
and
it.
and then I'd watch the fireworks on on acid or something in the ocean, and then come back and fucking party all night, and that was it. But one year, my fucking toilet exploded. These 2 chicks went in and somebody's like, dude, your toilet's a mess, and I fucking went in there. And there's shit on top of the fucking toilet. Like, it was like my toilet literally had been going all day, had been working double time, and like these chicks went in there and just, like you try to be like I empathize. You're a dainty gal. You got it bottled up all day. You've been eating you ate the same chili cheese dogs we did, and you're just supposed to fit in those shorts. Can you imagine, dude? Just fucking. And these chicks went in there and double teamed my fucking bathroom, and it's not a fucking state of the art. I mean, this is an old court. We got a courtyard. These were built for like Korean War vets. Like my whole block is like 1950s, like old fucking
totally.
old everything. And this place was a fucking war zone, and the fucking water is just coming out of this toilet. Shit, everything fucking everywhere. And I just like grabbed the toilet mat and I dammed up the door. And I was like, I fucking got this. And I started freaking out. And I was like in there. I was like, nobody else is going to fix my fucking toilet. There's shit everywhere. There's a party going on right now. And I'm hard on fucking hallucinogens. And I'm just like, I can handle my fucking drugs. And I'm just like, but I'm not going to handle them well right now. And I'm fucking yelling at people. At one point, I put on these blinky sunglasses with the fucking neon frames just to let everybody know that I wasn't losing my mind. Everybody's like, he's peeking. Help him. Stop him. And my buddy Jay, my fucking business partner, comes up and he's like, are you okay, bro? I'm like, I'm fucking fine, dude. I'm fucking up to my knees in shit, but I'm fucking fine. Let me deal with this. And I'm fucking just like throwing shit into a bag, and I'm like, I'm using up towels, and I got everything fucking in there, and I fucking rip my shirt off. I got no fucking shoes on, and I fucking pile this shit into a garbage bag. I finally get everything barely cleaned up to the point where I can come back and address the fucking hygiene matter of it, and I walk out my door with the fucking 2 bags full of shit-covered garments, and Joe's out there watching me. He goes, put your fucking shirt on, hero.
I remember saying that, yeah.
I like stopped. I like looked at you like I just been yelling for fucking 20 minutes straight. I just looked at you and I was just like, I just kept walking. I thought that was the fucking funniest thing ever, dude.
Oh, man, I thought you were going to tell me the time I said that was one year. The next year, I think my last year there, I saved your neighbor's birds. She had birds in a fucking cage.
Dude, you're still a hero in my courtyard for that.
Yeah, it was outside, and some drunk guy or drunk girl fell back into it, and they went to go tip over a big bird cage with like the loves of her lives.
Guy diving one arm fucking grab.
Odell Beckham, that shit.
Odell Beckham, the bird cage with the bird in it, sang to the bird as they were going. Sang to the bird, landed, handed the bird up to fucking.
Yeah, that woman loved me. She was like, oh my God, she gave me big hugs and stuff like that. Virginia.
She still talks about that. That's fucking hilarious.
That's hilarious, man.
Man, you
got
are
there,
a fucking legend. Well, you know what? You didn't need to come to the last one. Yeah. You got 10 years done in 5. You accomplished everything you needed to do at my 4th of July party.
Well, why'd you decide to end it, though? What made it? We'll end on this. 10 years? Just was that a good round number to end it on?
I'm not going to pick up my carpet anymore. I'm not going to roll up my carpet. And
You're
put it in my
married
garage.
now.
I'm married. My
Yeah.
wife, we're happily ever after,
And
dude.
you guys live at the same, you live
Yeah,
there
you
still?
still come out. We'll party, but
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not going to have fucking 500 people. I'm not.
Dude, it was like 500 people, James. I'm not kidding you, dude. It was
I'm
nuts.
not shooting flare guns into the air for a
Clear
fucking
people.
plumber anymore. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not
And you
doing
got a
no more of
taco
that
truck that went a couple times?
shit.
or a
Taco truck was the
cart?
best.
It
Like
was
I would
amazing.
come set out, dude. Yeah, those parties are fun, man.
Dude, I remember when the taco guy pulled up thinking, it's 4th of July. Why are we having hot dogs and hamburgers? And then later being like, oh, no, this was a way better
it's
call.
way
This
better.
was such a better
They would
call.
they would set up.
So good.
Him and his whole they would just fucking they would mop all day.
Oh, they were
Tacos.
amazing.
Yeah, it
And
was
there were
great.
so many good people there, so many funny people there. Got to know other comedians like better, like comics you just see around a little bit where you like really get into a conversation with them. You know what I mean? It was fun. Great time. All right, man. Where could everyone find you? Where are you going to be? Where could, you know?
I'm Hilarities in Cleveland this weekend. There with the Sklar's Friday and Saturday. It's my show Sunday. I'll be at JFL Northwest, open for Bill Burr on February 21st and 2nd, I think. 20th,
Oh, yeah.
21st, and then I'll be there on the 22nd. I'm doing a couple other sets that Saturday. And then NateCraig.com, Hype Man on Twitter, Nate Craig Live on Instagram. Preferred customer. Streaming now on all your preferred streaming sites.
It's so good. I'm not kidding you guys. It's really funny.
I'll release the special like a professional with the advice of my good buddy Joe Kilgallon here.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. All right, well, everyone, thanks for listening. This is our first time going live on YouTube. I hope the people checking on YouTube loved it. More content coming your way. Check out the Patreon because James and I are editing Comedians in Basements Drinking 40s, and there's going to be some unedited versions that we're putting on the Patreon starting
of good
soon.
extras.
I know I haven't posted on the Patreon in a few weeks, so thank you to the people who still subscribe to it.
Shout out Jonah Hill.
Shout out to Jonah Hill. Fucking super bad. What's up, fat fuck? No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I mean, nothing to do with his weight. Whatever. I'm glad he does like that Oprah thing where he goes skinny fat, skinny fat. I don't know why I made it a weight thing. Sorry, I don't
Versatility.
know.
It's versatility.
Versatility. Hey, you were good and get him to the Greek or some shit. I don't know. All right, man. This has been Kilgallon's Pub, everyone. Cheers. Buddy.
Good.
So fucking funny, man.
All right. I love that.